stay home, nobody wants you there. That was my mother's exact sentence, calm, polite, final. I'm Emma Reynolds, and on May 14th, 2022, I turned 25 years old, the same day as my twin sister, Lily. I was standing barefoot in my apartment kitchen, phone pressed to my ear, staring at the small cupcake I'd bought myself on the way home from work, vanilla, no candles, just something so the day wouldn't feel invisible. In the background of my mom's call, I heard music. Real music, bass, laughter, glasses clinking. "We're just doing something small for Lily," she said like she was explaining weather. "It's better if you don't come. You know how things get. Small." An hour earlier, I'd accidentally seen Lily's Instagram story before she deleted it. A gold balloon arch, white roses, a banner that said, "Lily Rose, 25 high," in warm lights. I recognized the place instantly, the Harborview Hotel ballroom, the one my parents only used for important events. "And me?" I asked quietly. There was a pause. Not confusion, calculation. "Emma, don't make this about you," she said. "We don't want drama on Lily's day." Drama, that word had been stapled to my name my entire life. I hung up before she could say anything else. The kitchen felt too quiet. The fridge hummed. My phone buzzed again. "Lily, please don't do this. Just stay home. They already paid for everything." Already paid. Like I was a refund they didn't want to process. If you're enjoying this story so far, like and subscribe, it really helps. And tell me where you're watching from and what time it is there. I read the comments. By Friday afternoon, the pressure campaign was in full force. My dad called during my lunch break. "Your mother's been stressed," he said. "Why can't you just let your sister have one day?" One day, as if we hadn't shared every birthday until the year. I stopped pretending everything was fine. My aunt texted, "Families aren't fair, sweetheart. Don't poke the bear." Even Lily called, whispering like someone was listening. "I'll see you another time, okay? Please don't show up. Not happy birthday. Not, I'm sorry. Just don't show up." At the 6:18 p.m., while I was still sitting in my car outside my apartment, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "Check your email." Subject line, "For Saturday." I opened my inbox. The email had no greeting. No name, just one attachment. Envelope, PDF. Inside were scanned bank statements, highlighted transfers, dates that punched me in the chest. Every single transfer lined up with my college tuition deadlines. Money I was told didn't exist. Money my parents said they couldn't help with. Money I'd taken loans for. Then I saw the letter. My mother's handwriting, careful, familiar. "We'll tell Emma it's gone," she'd written. "She won't fight it. She never does." My hands started shaking. The air in my car felt cold, even though the windows were up. At the bottom of the email, one final line waited like a warning. "They're not just celebrating a birthday." I didn't respond. I didn't call anyone. I stared at my reflection in the windshield until my eyes burned. Down by the harbor, servers were probably lining champagne flutes. My parents were rehearsing smiles. Lily was stepping into the dress I helped her pick, back, when I still believed I belonged there. They thought the trap was making me stay home. They had no idea what I was about to walk into. What would you do? Stay silent to keep the peace? Or show up once you saw those documents? Saturday night came faster than I expected. By 7:02 p.m., my phone was already buzzing nonstop on my coffee table. Notifications stacked on top of each other, Instagram, Facebook, group chats I hadn't been active in for years. Everyone was posting from the same place, the Harborview Hotel. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, a violinist near the bar. My parents posing in coordinated outfits, like they were hosting a charity gala instead of a birthday party for one daughter they decided was worth celebrating. And then came the pictures of Lily. She looked stunning. She always did when my parents were involved. Hair professionally styled, makeup soft but expensive looking, a silver dress that caught the light every time she moved. In one video, she laughed as my dad tapped a spoon against his glass. "Let's make a toast," he said. I didn't hear the rest. Someone had added music over it before reposting. But I didn't need audio to read his body language. Proud, loud, center stage. My phone vibrated again. "Mom, I hope you're being mature about this." Mature. As if maturity meant swallowing whatever they handed me. I opened the email again. The bank transfers weren't a misunderstanding. They were deliberate, monthly, clean, thousands of dollars. Moved quietly into an account I'd never been told about. An account under my parents' control. At 7:19 p.m., another message came in. This one from Lily. Lily, people keep asking where you are. I told them you couldn't make it. Couldn't. Like I had a flat tire. Like I was sick. My stomach tightened because that meant they were already doing it, rewriting the story before I could speak. 10 minutes later, a distant cousin I barely spoke to posted a selfie with the caption, "All the family together tonight." All. I set my phone face down and leaned back on the couch. The apartment smelled like cold pizza and laundry detergent. No music, no laughter, just the hum of the AC and the weight of knowing my absence was being used as proof that I didn't belong. Then my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Same as before. They just mentioned you. I flipped the phone over instantly. Your mom said you needed space and couldn't handle group settings right now. People are nodding, smiling. My jaw clenched. Of course she did. That was her favorite move, turning exclusion into concern. At 7:41 p.m., Lily posted a video that finally cracked something in me. She was holding the microphone now, smiling nervously. "I just want to thank Mom and Dad," she said. "They've always supported me, always believed in me." The camera panned to my parents. My mother dabbed at fake tears. My dad squeezed her hand, supported, believed. I remembered the night I'd called them from my dorm, panicking about tuition. My dad had sighed and said, "You'll figure it out, Emma. That's life." Apparently, Lily's life came with wire transfers. My phone buzzed again, this time a group chat notification, a family chat I'd been muted in for months. Aunt Marlene. "Wish Emma could have been here, but this was probably best for everyone." That sentence landed harder than any insult, because it confirmed what I'd suspected for years. They didn't just tolerate my absence. They preferred it. I stood up, heart racing, and opened my laptop again. I zoomed in on the documents, on the dates, on the totals. Then I noticed something new I'd missed before. A note on one transfer. Trust allocation, second beneficiary. Second, meaning there was a first. At 8:06 p.m., my phone rang. Lily this time. I let it go to voicemail. Seconds later, a text appeared. "Lily, why are you letting them talk about you like this?" I stared at the screen, stunned. Letting them? That's when it hit me. Lily wasn't just the guest of honor. She was part of the performance. The email from the unknown number buzzed again. "If you show up, don't go alone. And bring the envelope." I looked at the clock. The party would be peaking right now. Toasts, cake, applause. They thought the night was safely under their control. They were wrong. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't trying to be included. I was deciding whether to walk straight into the room they'd locked me out of. And this time, I had receipts. I didn't drive to the Harborview that night. Instead, at 8:22 p.m., I pulled into a dimly lit strip mall on the other side of town and parked outside. A 24-hour print shop. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as I stepped inside. The air smelling like toner and burnt coffee. My hands were steady now. Too steady. I printed everything. Every bank statement, every highlighted transfer, the handwritten letter, and the page that mentioned trust allocation, second beneficiary. While the printer hummed, my phone kept lighting up. Why aren't you answering? Dep, you're embarrassing your sister by disappearing. Lily, just say you're sick, please. Sick, invisible, quiet. That was the role they wanted me to play. At 8:47 p.m., I got another email from the unknown sender. This time there was a name at the bottom. Aunt Claire. My mom's older sister, the one who moved out of state when I was 12. The one everyone said was difficult and money-obsessed. Her message was short. The trust was created when you were 6. Your grandparents left equal shares to both twins. Your parents were trustees. They moved your portion. Lily's stayed visible. Yours didn't. My chest tightened. I leaned against the counter, paper still warm in my hands. So they stole it, I whispered to no one. Another email followed immediately. Not just moved, used mortgage payments. Lily's graduate program. The Harborview deposit. The room felt smaller, louder. I thought of every night. I'd worked late to cover loan interest. Every apology I'd made for being financially irresponsible. Every time my parents praised Lily for being low maintenance. They hadn't been supporting her. They'd been funding her with my money. My phone rang again. Dad. I answered this time. "What are you doing?" He snapped. "No hello. No pretense. People are asking questions." I smiled without humor. "About me?" "They're wondering why you didn't even send a gift," he said. "Do you know how that looks?" I looked down at the stack of papers in my arms. I think I know exactly how it looks. Silence. Then his voice dropped. Emma, don't do this tonight. Do what? At R9 or 3 p.m.? My phone buzzed with a notification I hadn't expected. A new Instagram story. Posted by my mother. A photo of Lily blowing out candles. The caption read, "So proud of the daughter who never causes problems." My hands shook for the first time that night. The pressure wasn't subtle anymore. It was public, intentional. They were cementing the narrative while they still could. My phone rang again. Lily, why are you punishing me? She demanded the second I picked up. Music thumped behind her voice. This is my night. I know, I said calmly. Whose money paid for it? She froze. I could hear it. The sudden intake of breath. What are you talking about? She whispered. The trust, I said. The one Grandma and Grandpa set up. The one Dad controls. A sharp voice cut in behind her. My mother. Hang up, she hissed. Lily didn't. Emma, Lily said, her voice cracking. Mom said that was family money. Was it? I asked. Or was it mine? The line went dead. And about 9:21 p.m., Aunt Claire called me directly. They're going to spin this, she said. If you confront them privately, they'll deny it. If you stay silent, they'll bury it. So what do? I asked. She didn't hesitate. You show up where the story already is. I glanced at the printed program peeking out of one of the documents. Harborview Hotel, Ballroom C. I could almost hear the applause through the paper. They think tonight is a celebration, Aunt Claire continued. But legally it's evidence. Trustees misusing funds, unequal distribution. And there are witnesses. My pulse thundered. Lily doesn't know everything, I said. She knows enough, Aunt Claire replied. And your parents are panicking. As if on cue, my phone buzzed again. A text from my mom. If you come here, you will regret it. I stared at the words, then at my reflection in the dark window of the print shop. 25 years old, calm, done being managed. I gathered the papers, slid them into a plain manila envelope, and walked out into the cold night air. They thought the party protected them. They forgot one thing. Public lies fall apart faster than private ones. The Harborview Hotel valet looked at me twice when I handed him my keys. It was 9:46 p.m. The night air off the water was sharp, carrying the smell of salt and engine exhaust. Inside, warm light spilled through the glass doors, laughter rolling out in waves. I could hear a DJ now, something upbeat, safe, celebratory. I adjusted my jacket and walked in. Ballroom C sat at the end of a long carpeted hallway. Gold signage, a framed poster. Lily Rose, 25, in elegant script. Underneath, my parents' names as hosts. Hosted, like they were proud patrons of something flawless. The doors were open. Applause broke out just as I reached the threshold. My dad stood at the microphone, beaming, champagne flute raised. To Lily, he said, our shining star, the daughter who makes everything worth it. Cheers, glasses clinked. My mother stood beside him, smiling wide, eyes scanning the room. Not for me. She was relaxed, confident. The smile of someone who believed the night was locked down. Lily stood near the cake table, surrounded by friends, her cheeks flushed. She looked genuinely happy. That was the worst part. I stepped inside fully. No one noticed me at first. The music swelled. A server brushed past, balancing a tray of drinks. The room smelled like sugar and flowers and money. I spotted Aunt Marlene across the room. Her smile faltered when she saw me. Then came the whispers. Is that? I thought she wasn't coming. Oh, wow. My mom saw me then. Her smile froze, just for half a second. Long enough. She leaned toward my dad and hissed something. His eyes followed hers and landed on me. The color drained from his face, replaced almost instantly with practiced calm. He nodded at the DJ to lower the music. Emma, he said into the mic, chuckling lightly. Well, look who decided to join us. A ripple of awkward laughter moved through the room. I didn't answer. I walked closer, the envelope heavy in my hand. My mom hurried over, heels clicking sharply. What are you doing? She whispered through clenched teeth, grabbing my arm. We talked about this. We did, I said quietly. You told me nobody wanted me here. Her grip tightened. You're going to ruin this. Behind her, Lily stared at me, eyes wide, confusion battling fear. She shook her head slightly. Not here, she mouthed. My dad stepped down from the stage, still smiling for the crowd. Let's not make a scene, he said softly, like he was soothing a child. We can talk later. Later, the word they always used when they meant never. Actually, I said, loud enough for the nearby tables to hear, I think now's fine. The room went still in pockets. People leaned in without meaning to. My dad's smile sharpened. Emma, this is Lily's night. I know, I said. That's why I'm surprised you paid for it with my money. A hush fell, not complete silence, but the kind where forks stop midair. My mom laughed too loudly. She's confused, she said, addressing the room. Emma's been under a lot of stress. Gaslighting, right on schedule. Am I? I asked. I pulled the envelope out and held it up. Because these look pretty clear. My dad's jaw tightened. You have no idea what you're talking about. Across the room, Aunt Marlene stared at the envelope like it might explode. Lily stepped forward. Emma, please, she said, voice shaking. We can talk later. I met her eyes. Did you know about the trust? Her face told me everything before she answered. There was family money, she said carefully. Equal shares, I replied. 2 beneficiaries. My mom snapped. Stop! But it was too late. People were fully watching now. Phones discreetly lifted. The DJ stood frozen behind his booth. My dad straightened his jacket and leaned in close to me, his voice low and dangerous. If you keep going, he said, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt something inside me settle. I already did, I said. I stepped toward the stage. Behind me, I heard my mother whisper almost to herself, oh God, because the moment they'd been avoiding, the one they thought they'd prevented by telling me to stay home, had finally arrived, and I was about to open the envelope. I climbed the 2 steps to the stage before anyone could stop me. The microphone was still warm when I picked it up. My hand didn't shake. That surprised me. Below the stage, faces blurred together, friends, relatives, co-workers of my parents who'd only ever heard one version of our family story, the perfect one. Emma, my dad said sharply, stepping forward. Get down, now. I smiled at him. Not soft, not kind, just calm. I won't be long, I said into the mic. The room fell silent. I could hear the low hum of the chandelier lights, the faint clink of a glass somewhere in the back. Someone's phone buzzed and was quickly silenced. I was told not to come tonight, I began. I was told nobody wanted me here. A murmur rippled through the room. I'm Emma Reynolds, I continued, and I'm Lily's twin sister. We turned 25 today. Lily's friends exchanged confused looks. A few heads turned toward my parents. For most of my life, I said, I was told I was dramatic, difficult, too emotional, that if something felt unfair, it was probably just me. My mom shook her head slowly, smiling tightly, like she was watching a toddler throw a tantrum. But yesterday, I went on, I learned something interesting. My dad lunged for the mic. Security hesitated. Guests stared. I raised the envelope. My grandparents set up a trust when Lily and I were 6. 2 beneficiaries, equal shares. Someone near the front whispered, what? My parents were the trustees, I said, meaning they were supposed to protect it. Manage it, not use it. My dad froze. I pulled out the first page and held it up. These are bank transfers, monthly, for years. Labeled trust allocation. I turned slightly so the nearest tables could see the highlighted lines. They paid for Lily's graduate program, I said, voice steady. They paid for this venue, this party, this night. My mom finally snapped. That is none of your business. A few gasps cut through the room. It was my money, I said. That makes it my business. Lily stepped forward, tears in her eyes. Emma, I didn't know it was like that. I looked at her. Really looked. Did you ever ask where it came from? She didn't answer. If you're still with me, pause for a second, because this is where everything shifted. If this story is hitting you, like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. I want to know who's hearing this moment with me. My dad cleared his throat and turned to the crowd, slipping back into performance mode. There's been a misunderstanding, he said smoothly. Family finances are complex. Not this complex, a voice said. Aunt Claire stepped out from behind a pillar. Every head turned. I'm a financial auditor, she continued, walking forward. And what you did is called misappropriation of trust funds. The word auditor landed hard. My mom's face went pale. Claire, this doesn't concern you. It does when my niece was robbed, Aunt Claire said. She nodded at me. And when there are witnesses. Phones were fully out now. No one was pretending otherwise. My dad laughed nervously. You're making a scene. I leaned into the mic one last time. No, I said. I'm telling the truth in the room you built to hide it. The silence after that was deafening. Then someone clapped, one person, then another, not loud, not celebratory, just acknowledgement. My mom grabbed my arm again, nails digging in. We will talk about this at home, she hissed. I pulled away. I don't have a home with you anymore. Lily was crying openly now. The cake candles had burned down to stubs. Security finally approached, uncertain who they were supposed to escort out. And that's when my dad realized something had gone terribly wrong. This wasn't a private family argument anymore. It was public, recorded, and no amount of smiling was going to undo it, because the receipts were out, and consequences were next. The room didn't explode into chaos the way movies make you expect. It went quiet instead, a heavy, stunned quiet like everyone was waiting for someone important to tell them how to react. Security hovered near the stage, unsure. The DJ stared at his console like it might give him instructions. My dad stood frozen, smile gone now, eyes darting from face to face, calculating damage. Aunt Claire didn't give him time. Since this is already public, she said calmly, we might as well be accurate. She reached into her bag and pulled out a thin folder, crisp, organized, professional. I reviewed the trust records last year, she continued, after Emma called me about student loans that didn't make sense. My dad snapped his head toward me. You went behind our backs? I met his gaze. You went behind mine first. A few people nodded, subtle but real. Aunt Claire opened the folder. The trust was valued at just over $410,000 when the girls turned 18. Lily's portion remains intact. Emma's was steadily withdrawn over 7 years. Murmurs spread across the room. That's not true, my mother said sharply. You don't know what you're looking at. Claire didn't even glance at her. Mortgage payments, renovations, tuition, event deposits. She flipped a page, including tonight's venue, paid in full 3 months ago. Every eye turned to the ballroom ceiling, as if the truth was written there. Lily whispered, Mom, Dad, is this true? My mother opened her mouth, then closed it. My father stepped forward, voice low and urgent. We did what we thought was best for the family. For which family member? Aunt Claire asked. Silence. That silence cracked something in Lily. You told me it was savings, she said, tears streaking down her face. You told me Emma didn't need it. I felt the weight of that sentence settle into my chest. Not anger, something heavier, final. My dad rubbed his temples. We knew Emma would overreact. That did it. A man near the front, one of my dad's business associates, set his drink down hard. You stole from your own kid, he said, not yelling, worse, disappointed. My mom's composure shattered. She's ungrateful, she snapped, pointing at me. We raised her. We fed her. She owes us. The word owes echoed. I stepped forward, mic still in my hand. I didn't owe you my future, I said. And you didn't get to decide which daughter deserved one. A woman I barely recognized, one of Lily's friends, covered her mouth. Another guest quietly slipped out, phone still recording. Security finally spoke. Sir, ma'am, we're getting complaints. My dad looked around, realizing the room had turned on him. This is a private matter, he insisted. Claire shook her head. Not anymore. Misuse of trust funds is a civil issue, possibly criminal. Criminal? My mom swayed slightly. She grabbed a chair. Lily took a shaky step toward me. I didn't want this, she whispered. I know, I said. And I meant it, but it was already happening. You just didn't see it. She nodded slowly, like something inside her was rearranging. My dad straightened, trying one last time. Emma, he said soft now, we can fix this quietly. I took the envelope, slid it back inside my bag, and looked at him with a calm I didn't recognize as my own. No, I said, you can't. The DJ finally shut off the music completely. Security asked my parents to step aside. And just like that, the night they'd spent months orchestrating, every flower, every light, every lie collapsed under the weight of the truth they thought would never surface. This wasn't the end. It was the point of no return. The consequences didn't come all at once. They came in waves. By Sunday morning, less than 12 hours after the party, my phone was already full. Missed calls, voicemails, texts from relatives who'd just found out and wanted to talk. A few apologies. A lot of excuses. At 9:14 a.m., Aunt Claire forwarded me an email. Subject, Notice of Trustee Review. It was real, formal, legal letterhead. My parents had been notified that the trust was under review, effective immediately. They'll try to call you, Claire texted. Don't answer yet. Too late. My mother's name flashed across my screen seconds later. I let it ring. Then my dad. Ring. Then Lily. That one I answered. I didn't sleep, she said. Her voice sounded small. They didn't either. I pictured my parents' house, blinds drawn, silence heavy with panic. What do you want from me? Lily asked. I want you to be honest, I said. With yourself. She swallowed. They always said you were unstable. I closed my eyes. And you believed them? Yes, she said. Because it was easier. That hurt more than anything else. By Tuesday, things escalated. My parents' bank temporarily froze their joint account. My dad was placed on administrative leave from his firm pending personal matters. The Harborview manager called to confirm they would not be hosting future events for my family. Reputation, the thing my parents worshipped, was cracking. On Wednesday afternoon, my mom showed up at my apartment unannounced. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. She looked older, smaller. Her hair was pulled back hastily, eyes rimmed red. She clutched her purse like a lifeline. You've made your point, she said. No apology, just strategy. This has gone far enough. I leaned against the doorframe. It hasn't gone nearly far enough. She scoffed. You always wanted to punish us. I wanted fairness, I replied. You called that punishment. Her mouth trembled. We gave Lily stability. At my expense. She looked past me into my apartment, modest, clean, quiet. You survived, she said. Doesn't that count for something? I felt a strange calm settle over me. Survival isn't a gift you get credit for withholding alternatives. She stared at me like she'd never heard that idea before. From the hallway, a voice interrupted us. Mrs. Reynolds? An elderly neighbor stood there holding a package. He'd witnessed the confrontation without meaning to. My mom straightened instantly, mask snapping back into place. Yes? He glanced between us. Delivery for Emma. I took the package. Thank you. My mom's shoulders slumped. When she realized she was no longer the audience's focus, she whispered, Your father's health. I raised a hand. No. She flinched. I'm not your shield anymore, I said. You don't get to use guilt as currency. She left without another word. That night, Lily came over. She didn't bring excuses, just herself. She sat on my couch, hands folded tightly. They wanted me to convince you to sign something, she admitted. A release. I laughed once. Of course they did. I didn't, she said quickly. I told them no. That was the first real choice she'd ever made. We sat in silence for a long moment. I'm sorry, she said finally, for letting them erase you. Tears slid down my face before I could stop them. Not loud, just honest. The trust review would take months, maybe longer. Lawyers would get involved. Lines would be drawn, but something else had already happened. The family hierarchy my parents built, where one daughter shined and the other disappeared, was gone. And they had no one to blame but themselves. By August, my life looked nothing like it had in May. The quiet was the first thing I noticed. No daily anxiety spikes, no waiting for my phone to buzz with another carefully worded disappointment. Just space, real space, the kind you don't realize you need until it's finally yours. The trust case moved slowly but steadily. Claire handled most of it, looping me in only when decisions mattered. The preliminary findings were clear: misuse of funds, breach of fiduciary duty, documented patterns. My parents hired an attorney, then a better one, then quietly tried to settle. I said no. Instead, I focused on rebuilding the parts of my life that had been put on pause. I refinanced my student loans using an emergency advance Claire helped me secure. For the first time, my balance actually went down instead of hovering like a threat. I picked up extra hours at work and 2 weeks later, got promoted to team lead, something I'd been told to stop aiming for because it might stress me out. Funny how capable I felt without constant doubt in my ear. Lily and I met for coffee once a week, not to rehash the past, at least not always, but to learn how to exist without our parents directing the script. She cut her hair shorter, switched jobs, started paying for things herself. They're furious, she admitted one afternoon, stirring her drink. They say you poisoned me against them. I smiled sadly. They're just not used to you thinking. The first real comeback attempt came in September. My dad emailed me a long message titled, For the Sake of the Family. He wrote about regret without apologizing, about intentions without accountability. He attached a proposed agreement, partial repayment, non-disclosure, family mediation. Translation, money back, silence included. I forwarded it to Claire. Her response was immediate. They're scared. Good. 2 weeks later, my mom tried a different angle. She sent me a birthday card 5 months late with a handwritten note that said, "You'll always be my daughter." No acknowledgement of harm. No mention of the trust. I didn't respond. Lily wrestled with guilt more than I did. "I miss the version of them I thought I had," she said one night. "I know," I replied. "I miss the idea too." In October, the trust review concluded. The findings were damning. My parents were ordered to repay the misused funds plus penalties. My portion would be restored in full. Less market losses, more interest. They were removed as trustees permanently. My dad resigned from his firm before they could formally dismiss him. My mom stopped posting entirely. The image they curated so carefully had fractured beyond repair. One evening, Lily showed up at my place with a small box. Inside was a silver necklace, simple, not expensive. "I bought it myself," she said quickly. "I just wanted to give you something for us." I hugged her, tight, real. They tried once more in November. A voicemail from my dad, voice tired, controlled. "If you ever want to come home," he said, "we'll be here." I deleted it because home wasn't a place that demanded my silence. It was a place I was finally building on my own terms. And the final chapter was coming. The check arrived on a Tuesday. No apology attached, no letter. Just an overnight envelope with my name spelled correctly for once. I sat at my kitchen table, sunlight slanting through the blinds, and stared at it for a long moment before opening it. When I finally did, my breath caught, not because of the amount, but because of what it represented. Restoration, not forgiveness, not reunion, justice. The trust funds had been fully reinstated into a new account under my control. Independent oversight. No trustees, no parental access. Clean lines, clear boundaries. I called Aunt Claire first. "You did this," I said quietly. "No," she corrected. "You finished it." That afternoon, Lily came over. I showed her the paperwork. She read it slowly, lips pressed together. "They lost everything that mattered to them," she said. "They lost control," I replied. "That's different." She nodded. "They're telling people you're cruel." I smiled faintly. "I can live with that." A week later, my parents requested one final meeting. Neutral location. Mediator present. They framed it as closure. I declined. Closure, I'd learned, isn't something you receive from the people who hurt you. It's something you build when you stop waiting for them to change. On my birthday the following year, May 14th, I did something small. Just Lily and me, a quiet restaurant. No balloons, no speeches, no performance. She raised her glass. "To us," she said, "individually." I clinked mine against hers, and equally. We laughed. Real laughter. The kind that doesn't scan the room for approval. That night, back at my apartment, I posted a single photo. No caption, just a slice of cake with 2 forks beside it. The comments rolled in, supportive, curious, some angry on my parents' behalf. I didn't engage, because the lesson wasn't about choosing sides. It was about choosing myself. I learned that love without fairness isn't love, it's control. That silence can be a weapon. And that peace doesn't come from keeping the family image intact. It comes from telling the truth, even when your voice shakes. So if you've ever been told to stay, home to make things easier for everyone else, ask yourself who it's really easier for. If this story meant something to you, like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. I want to hear your story too, because sometimes the moment they try to erase you is the moment you finally step into your life.